This is Ramped Up.
Good afternoon. This is Ramped Up. To my left, I have Adam Chake, and to my right is Wilby Thomas, and I'm Sean Boyce. Tonight, we're going to talk about baseball, women's tennis, golf, men's tennis, and women's lacrosse, and that's it. And
wrap it up with a little bit of national championship coverage.
Definitely, can't forget that. An important thing. All right, boys, what do we want to start out with?
You guys want to start out with tennis?
Tennis sounds good. VCU men's tennis team. This current week, they swept the A10 Weekly Awards with sophomore Ignacio Rivers Crespo named A10 Player of the Week. And then freshman Inigo Torre Martin wins Rookie of the Week for the fourth time this season.
Fourth time?
Both of these guys out of Spain, coming right over here to play tennis at this great college of Virginia Commonwealth.
Torrey Martin's been absolutely stellar this year, and like you said, he's won it 4 times already.
I tell you what, it's nice to have a nice international recruiting process, and also to get that much value and that much work out of your freshman, because you know you're going to have him for a while and really can build a program off of that. A lot of success to come long term.
Absolutely. Speaking
of, let's see. So their last win came against University of North Carolina Wilmington, where they won 4-3. They played that, and then actually their most recent game was a loss against Old Dominion, 4-0. So it's kind of sucks.
Tough loss.
Getting swept by our old CAA opponent, so it's kind of a bummer. But
and an in-state rivalry too.
In-state rivalry, yeah, it's an old rivalry. VCU and ODU, you know, it's a tough one. But I mean, they're still 3-0 in the conference, and they're 9-4 at home, which is nice. It's always good. And then let's see, and their next game is going to be this Saturday against Middle Tennessee. So let's hope they can.
Good game. Go up there to Tennessee. Yeah. Let's hope they can come out with a win. They started off real strong, and kind of on a little skid here, but I have a lot of faith that they're gonna turn it around.
Yeah, after starting out 5-0, I mean, it's been kind of tough. It's been really like win-win loss. But let's hope they can finish strong into the stretch before we get into the tournament play.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
If anything, they've been maintaining a decent record and winning consistently.
Right.
All right, boys. We want to move on to women's tennis.
Women's tennis. What we got? What we got, boys?
All right. Adam, you want to start us off?
Yeah.
Or you...
Women's tennis beat George Washington 6-0 and lost to East Tennessee State 5-2. But at the same time, they're maintaining a great record.
Absolutely.
For the time being.
12-3 on the year. So I mean, those 2 losses coming in the last week. I mean, it's kind of tough, but hopefully they can rebound and get back to that success.
I think so. With that success that's already kind of present for them, I think 2 losses, won't discourage anybody. I think they have what it takes to turn it around.
I mean, it's just nice they're 1-0 in conference. I mean, I know they've only had 1 conference game, and actually they won't get their next conference game until U of R, which will be their season finale before going into tournament play.
That's a good way to cap off the season right there.
Definitely.
It's a little rivalry game.
Little city rivalry. The VCU Rams against the University of Henrico Spiders. All right. What's really nice about them is they're also, 6-0 on the road.
On the road.
On the road, they get it done. They leave VCU, they bring the crowd with them. They bring the thunder, And also what's just nice is junior Anna Ravmusin was Player of the Week for the 3rd time this year. And then also we had Paola Exposito Diaz Delgado.
Now that's a mouthful.
Say that 5 times fast. Out of Spain, no Spanish tennis player for VCU. Got Rookie of the Week for the 4th time this year. So it's really nice. Also, these rookies for tennis, men's and women's, are killing it. Really crushing it, bringing some nice victories.
That is.
And just with the men's, they're maintaining the wins to an even greater degree. And like you said, with the road record, that'll come as a virtue come tournament time.
Definitely, because I believe they're going to be in Orlando, so that's going to be a road game. It's going to be a road tourney.
Extreme road game.
So playing on the road will come in handy at that time. All right, boys, do we want to move on to women's lacrosse?
Women's lacrosse, I think, is next. Not too good of a season so far. A little bit disappointing. They're unfortunately 2-8. Had some tough losses to Virginia Tech, and they're scoring about 10 goals a game, which, sounds okay, but for lacrosse, they need to be putting out more for that each game.
And especially with the past few games, the 10-goal output hasn't been nearly enough. They've had, I think, 20 goals scored on them plus several times already, especially in the last couple of weeks.
It's, I think they can turn it around. They have some senior leaders on there. Maybe they can come from behind, even out that record as the season
As the
continues
season
to
winds down.
progress.
It'd be nice if they could go ahead and get on the run. But I will tell you, it's definitely tough for that, especially 0-2 in the conference.
Tough loss to St. Joe's, 18-7, their last game.
That was tough.
So
And the one before that was U of R, which they lost 21-11, so losing by 10 points. I mean, you would think in college lacrosse, putting up more than averaging 10.8 points a game would really get you some wins. But when your defense is letting up 20 points, that's kind of tough.
not good.
21-11, that could be a football score right there.
Right there. They're up next. They're playing at Duquesne on Friday. So they're traveling up north to Pennsylvania. So see how that goes for them.
It's going to be tough. Hopefully, they can get a little more defense. There's no saying offense wins games, defense wins championships. So we'll see if they can rein that in.
That's how it is.
It's a tough one.
Yes.
All right, guys, you want to move it on to golf?
Golf. Hit the links.
Hit the links.
We got the Masters coming up this weekend. So how are our boys doing?
Our boys, well, let's see. They just had a tournament, the Seahawk Intercollegiate at Wilmington, North Carolina. They finished 9th out of 14. It's a little tough. They started out the season pretty good, undefeated, and then it's been a little bit of a slide. They finished at plus 38 overall for the team. And actually, UNCW, the home team, winning that whole tournament for their host. So with
That weather down there, man, might be something in the water.
It might be, especially when they finish at -2 for the tourney. That's pretty
It's
good.
impressive.
It's pretty good golfing. Definitely better than Adam's golf game. So.
Probably.
Let's see. Next, they'll be at the Irish Creek Intercollegiate at Kannapolis, North Carolina. A lot of North Carolina golf. It's really that
Beautiful
time
state.
of year. It's starting to get to golf weather.
Oh, yeah.
All right, boys.
So what we got next, Adam? A little bit of track and field.
Yeah, they've been pretty consistent this year. Their last meet, they finished 3rd overall, I believe, and most of the events they finished 3rd. And at the same time, they've been maintaining consistency throughout the season.
Consistency, that's a good word.
Consistency
I've
is
used
key.
it a lot.
Yeah, well, that's good, We had our friend Sean, other Sean, talk about it last week. Those guys, a lot of they work hard. And it's
They work
a lot
hard.
on
They have a
them.
very long season. I think a lot of people don't realize this. Like, they keep on competing until June. And here we are in April. This is going to pretty much be everyone's last full month of college running in the finals. And these guys are going to be here
Putting
a
in
little
the
while
work.
after. It's a long season.
They'll
But
work for a whole month after.
I guess they have a lot of training leading up to that. I guess fall is really their lax period, just getting in shape.
Yeah, and a couple, Stephen Halfin and as well as a few other members set new personal bests at the last meet
That
and
is good.
Wow.
improving throughout the season.
Good for them. Good for them. Great facilities down there. So we want to. So speaking of which, what is it? Track practices down by the Diamond. So going into the Diamond, how we talk about a little VCU baseball?
VCU baseball.
How are Rams
boys.
doing on the field?
We won against UVA 11-3 last Wednesday in what I would consider an upset as
I like
UVA
that.
is ranked. And we lost the series against St. Louis 1-2. But St. Louis is the best in the country, so I can't say that was unexpected.
Right. I mean, it snapped that 14-game win streak, which was, for any kind of level of baseball, that is impressive right there.
Very impressive, It's like they say, all good things must come to an end, unfortunately. So, you're going to have a loss in there because that's a good teaching moment, You almost don't want, it's nice to stay perfect, but with a loss, there's something to be learned from it. And I tell you what, that 14-game win streak, including a win over ranked UVA, that gets me ramped up. I don't know about you guys, it gets me ramped up.
Yeah.
And if you look at the pattern, we won against UVA 11-3. We did lose against St. Louis 7-1 and 9-0 in a doubleheader on Saturday, but then we won against Towson 7-2. So it makes you think if they kind of reset and they're going to go back on another winning streak again.
Got a nice little 2-day rest in between that, and they wrapped it up against Towson yesterday. Got rained out in the 6th inning, but they scored 5 runs in the 1st inning, so that helped them out. Even in a game that gets rained out.
That's very impressive. One can only think if that game finished out, how much they would rack the score up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They've had 6 home runs this season, which is great.
Yeah.
They're playing nice, good, sound baseball. 19-10 on the season, and 13-3 at home. They win a lot of home games.
It's good for us,
They've been strong at the
going to a
Diamond,
game,
yeah.
and I'm expecting those VCU boys to get the win. So.
I sure hope so. If you're a VCU student watching this, make sure you go out and watch if you want to see some quality baseball
out
by
there.
your very own VCU Rams.
Nice stadium out there at the Diamond.
definitely.
sure. Yeah.
And let's see, their VCU baseball. Their next game is going to be this Friday. They're going to be playing Dayton. All right,
For a weekend
three-game
series.
yeah.
3-game
Friday
series over the
through Sunday.
weekend. Play a lot of good baseball. Hopefully some good weather, and that game's going to start at 6:30.
6:30.
All right, boys. So, I guess in the national news, we had a little championship game, didn't we? March Madness came to an end as
night.
April came.
Monday night, Villanova really put the hurt on Michigan. The boy Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench with 31 points. He really put on a show, and in a pretty good time to do it.
Definitely did. You know what they say, March showers bring April flowers, and I guess in this form it's going to be championship rings and an NCAA championship trophy for Villanova and the Wildcats.
City of Philadelphia,
Yes.
getting
Philly's
these
getting
championships.
dubs.
What do you
Philly's
think
getting
about the
dubs.
Sixers? They can do it too.
And if you look at Villanova, they were so like you had Loyola upsetting a few teams. Michigan barely edged out a couple of wins, but Villanova was so methodical. They won by more and more as the season went on, or as the tournament went on.
Right, I think the
And-
stat was what they had. Every game was a win by double digits.
By double
believe so,
digits.
yeah.
Yep. They won every game by double digits in their bracket, which was wonderful. And I tell you what, it was actually a very good game up until halftime. They just poured it on. It seemed like Michigan didn't show up really. But DiVincenzo, coming off the bench, 31 points, it's amazing.
Can't stop that.
I think it was a statistic at halftime. They had it that every time he scored more than 15 points, they were undefeated, and I think that really carried over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to judge those stats, but when they really come to life, adds a little bit of legitimacy to them.
Getting down to the numbers, man. Numbers never lie.
They can't be manipulated though. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. But DiVincenzo, the second coming of Michael Jordan,
Oof.
saw that on Twitter.
All I
What do
know
we
is his
think?
draft stock
Early
went
hot take?
up
Let's
on
Through
take it.
Monday
the
right
roof,
there.
he can dunk it. He can drive the lane. He shoots the 3 ball well. Assists. He was doing it all.
Dishing the ball out, man.
He was
He
looking
was.
good. Very
Yeah.
exciting. It was very nice because he's a freshman if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he is.
So that's something to build off of. He was
Young
coming back.
leadership, man. It's been coming in bunches in the college level.
Especially having the old regime come out from that last championship team. That finally, those guys have aged out, unfortunately,
And those
2 out of the
freshmen
past
from that
3.
team are now the seniors or the juniors, seniors on the team.
which is nice.
Leadership. It's nice to see guys stay and help the team. You see a lot of good talent, leave for the NBA, and nothing against them, but it is nice to see a team stay together like that, where you see juniors and senior leadership.
Especially from like a slightly bigger program.
Right.
So this is Villanova's second championship in 3 years. So is the Big East a serious basketball conference once again? Big East of old?
Makes you think it might be, yeah.
It's
as
creeping
well as
on
they're
the
doing.
scene. That conference did really well this season, so I think we can see a continued progression of them. Being kind of a little bit on the outside looking in, still with like the bigger conferences like the ACC, the Big Ten. But I still think they're going to be up there. So.
They definitely will. That's kind of crazy. We think about it. There was no ACC teams even in the Final Four, which is absurd because at the beginning of the season, or especially the beginning of March Madness, we thought that the ACC was definitely the strongest conference, and they couldn't even get anyone in the Final Four. So no representation there at all, which is nuts.
Saw a really cool stat about that championship is they joined a list of 3 other teams in like college programs who've done 1-2 championships in
With the
3
same
years.
coach, yeah.
I think it was Florida, Duke, and I'm not sure what the other one was. It might have been North Carolina, but I am not positive about that. But I know Florida and Duke were up there. Florida had that back-to-back run.
Yeah.
With Joakim Noah in there, those boys. So
I think it was a statistic. It was out of coaches that have won 2 tournaments in the past 10 years or something like that, or current coaches that have won 2 tournaments. It was Villanova's coach, Mike Krzyzewski, and UNC's coach. I always forget his name.
Roy Williams.
Roy Williams.
Yeah.
Roy.
You forget about good old Roy.
Big Roy.
He's definitely a blue-collar type of guy. So, guys, Villanova won. So, are they the favorite for next year's championship come March?
I would pick them as my early favorite because they've made the tournament the past 3 years. They've won 2 out of the 3, and they made a pretty deep run last year, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
You're not
And
mistaken.
I'd say they're going to be the powerhouse for a couple of years, especially if DiVincenzo is with them for a couple more years.
Yeah, I agree.
He's
It's
a beast.
just good. Sad to see it come to an end, but we have a lot of good sports still here. Baseball just started up, MLB opening day last week, and then we have the NBA playoffs coming up.
Ooh, NBA playoffs.
And NHL.
NHL,
Yeah.
yes. Oh,
But
can't forget that.
Can't forget the hockey. Well, yeah, boys.
Yeah.
And the draft in a couple weeks as well.
NFL draft.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm ready for the NFL draft. I'm so ready for football. I love football, and I miss it. Johnny Manziel in Spring League. Johnny Football, baby.
RG3 just getting signed by the
Baltimore
Ravens.
as a backup. I actually like that a lot. You know, you got a guy who's, questionable injury-wise, but at the same time, he's definitely been to the playoffs. He's been part of a winning team. And there's not a lot of pressure. When he went to Cleveland, it was obvious they were looking for him to be a starter and just, I don't know. You know, I wanted him to have a fresh start.
I'm hoping he had that time. He looks like he's healthy. He had some time, to himself, to get mentally and physically sound to come back into the league. I feel like, it'd be nice to see him actually succeed in the NFL.
And you've got a number of quarterbacks that are ready to be drafted too, and then probably double that number of teams that need one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting to see who takes it and who takes a risk with someone that they don't need.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, with RG3, I think what's interesting with Baltimore Ravens is the fact their old backup used to be Tyrod Taylor, a mobile guy, and then here we got them picking up RG3, another mobile guy. Do they just really like mobile guys as a backup for Joe Flacco, who you could argue isn't very mobile at all?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, Flacco, they do a pretty good job protecting him, but if he takes a big hit, RG3 could come in there, be a little bit of a, versatility out there.
He's definitely a guy that could win you a game, which is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think more importantly, having a guy who's that mobile is for when you face a mobile team practicing throughout the week, is you have a guy that you can run simulations again, run practices. So if they had to prep for, Cam Newton, let's see, a Deshaun Kaiser maybe or something, or a Tyrod Taylor, it's like you have
Watson.
a guy. D. Watson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
It's like, here we go. It's like, this is what they're probably going to run. Here's a guy that can run similar to it. So that's always good to have right there.
Yeah.
Boys, who do we think the Cleveland Browns take at number 1 overall?
Adam, I'm going to let you answer that before I do.
I do not know. I'll let Sean go with it.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
torn
Boys.
with that.
A lot of reports of Josh Allen going number 1 overall. Personally,
Don't believe it.
I don't see it, all right? All right, Josh Allen in college, anytime he's faced a Power 5 conference, he's lost every time. I watched this past fall when Oregon came to Wyoming and played them, and I was not impressed at all. Couldn't put drives
That's a very,
together.
lower tier Oregon team at this point.
Not a very good Oregon team at all.
Gone downhill since they lost Mariota and everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I tell you what. It's nice that Josh Allen can throw an 80-yard ball, but I can think of a couple of past QBs who didn't work out that had big arms. So
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell,
And
baby.
with the moves that the Browns have made, I don't think that they'll take a quarterback because they already have a couple that they've.
I see
traded
Saquon
for.
Barkley up there, man.
Yeah,
So if you're the
Very
Browns, you're taking Saquon Barkley,
I
number
am.
1 overall.
I am.
You're not waiting. You're not waiting for 4. You're
I
just
think
going.
he's going to be a heck of a talent.
that's who I'd probably go with too, not a quarterback.
I think that the Giants are hoping he falls to them, but I do think the Browns, that would be a good pickup for them. They need something strong in the backfield. No more Isaiah Crowell, and so be a good start for them.
So who's the first quarterback off the board? Is it going to be Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Allen, Baker Mayfield, surprise Lamar Jackson?
Darnold, I think, would be one of the first couple at the very least.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I could see the Jets taking him or Baker Mayfield for that matter.
absolutely.
And
Jets and
You never
Baker
know,
Mayfield, kind of 50-50 on that choice, but we'll see,
It's going to be a tough one. I don't know. I think Sam Darnold really strengthened his case for his pro day. Practicing in the rain, slanging balls like it's nothing. Teams really always like to see that, especially for a quarterback, like that they can handle conditions, because not everyone plays in the dome. You're going to have to play in the elements, especially on the road sometimes. So that's always a good little thing to showcase.
With Darnold, I think they were also kind of looking at his attitude. I think a lot of GMs and teams are like, does he have the attitude? So I think he showed that he can
and
be.
Mayfield's antics, I guess you could say,
Whoa,
might have hurt his draft stock.
Whoa. His antics. I'm biased because I'm an Oklahoma football fan, but at the same time I will say he is a dog. He wants to win more than anything else. And I'm not
Very
talking
true.
I'm not talking Johnny Manziel win-esque. I'm talking Tom Brady attitude to go ahead and win it all. So
I wouldn't mind seeing him in a white and green bandana out there on the field for the Jets. So I think
he does all those bandanas.
And I would not
Bandanas
be
and Justin
surprised.
Timberlake. Fun fact. So, all right, boys. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week's show. So, for once again, I'm Sean Boyce.
Will Thomas,
I'm Adam Cheek.
And this is Ramped Up.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
See you next week.
Love you.